Hi guys, and welcome to A Dog's Soul. Have you ever experienced your dog being very funny and friendly and happy on one occasion and a little depressed or angry on another? Today we're going to talk about mood swings in dogs. Is that a thing or not? And what we can do about it. I'm Anita, I'm a professional dog trainer. I show you how to build a trusting relationship, teach your dog life skills to cope with your day-to-day life, and conquer fear and reactivity. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. And now stay tuned and have fun. Alright, so mood swings. What is that? Some of you might have experienced that yourself. So there are better days and not so nice days where you are not in your usual happy, joyful mood and just want to cuddle up with a tea and don't get bothered by anybody. And these mood swings are brought on by many different things. They can be a result of hormonal shifts or hormonal cycles, and that's something that actually happens for our dogs too, because they do have hormonal shifts, and female dogs, of course, have a cycle if they're not castrated, and that always affects moods. Some dogs experience that in a more intense way, some dogs not so much. And the reason behind this is, of course, what character is the dog and how sensitive is the dog. So also, what does the dog pick up in the surroundings? Like if you have a highly sensitive person, for example, like me, we're picking up things all around us and it affects us a lot. And if it gets too much, our mood suffers from it. And there are highly sensitive dogs, so this has to be a thing for them as well. And there is something like a very fragile mood, and that is something that happens when you look at a very fearful dog, for example. And that very fearful dog, when they experience happiness and joy, it's sometimes very fragile. So you see it come up and then it disappears very fast when there is any tiny little trigger and they go back to their fearful state. So of course, this is more of a feeling than it is a real mood, but it is something we can see. That's why I thought it would be important to just include it in this mood talk. And of course, if we're talking about mood swings and being in a good mood at the beginning and then it changes, we have to talk about trigger stacking. Trigger stacking is what happens when we encounter one trigger after another, after another, after another, after another. So this is something like we're walking our dog and we're already further into leash reactivity training, so our dog is fine around dogs and we can do normal walks. And we encounter dog number 1, it's fine, dog number 2, it's fine, dog number 3, it's fine, and so on, until we meet dog number 11 and our dog goes right back to the reactivity, explodes, and this is something I hear again and again. We walked past 5 dogs and at the 6th he reacted. But he was fine before. What has brought this on? And that's trigger stacking. So our dogs are dealing with stressful situations. And if there are too many stressful situations, the mood suffers. So our dogs feel fine in the beginning and get more tense and more anxious with every trigger they encounter until it's no longer bearable. So this is something we have to keep in mind whenever we choose our routes and whenever we encounter a lot of different things and a lot of triggers. We have to keep an eye out for our dog. Is he really fine, or is he already tensing up? Then that would be a very important sign not to miss and to take a break or change routes or go home. So whenever we see our dogs having a bad day or in a bad mood, we have to help them. It's the same thing with us. If we are in a bad mood, we don't want to do the most difficult things and the most social interaction we can get. Only exception would be if the social interaction is something really nice and something that lightens our mood again. And that's what we need to do for our dogs. So if we see our dogs in a bad mood, we either switch to relaxing things or things our dogs can still enjoy, like a play. But keep in mind, if it is something about hormonal changes or even pain can cause bad moods, of course, then our dogs will not be very open to play. And probably also not very open to any kind of search games and stuff like that, because there is something going on in their bodies. So they need rest. And that's what we should provide them with. We could also always try things that feel good, like warm things on them or around them or something like that. Or in summertime, when they have a bad mood because they're just exhausted from heat, then we can offer them cold things to lie on so they would just feel better. And then, of course, the mood would lighten. But sometimes we cannot do very much about it because it's just that time of the month. Of course, there is something like that for female dogs as well, like we already talked about. And this is something where you just have to watch out what your girl just likes and what she can do and what she wants to do, and provide her with that. Overall, it always comes down to reading your dog pretty well, and sometimes that takes a lot of experience with your own dog. So what helps is doing videos, because you can slow them and you can really analyze your dog's body language. And sometimes this is not something that feels very natural, because you're in the beginning just describing how different body parts look like. But that is your way in if you aren't already having a gut feeling about your dog's emotions and conditions and stuff like that. If you already have that, it's still a good idea to sometimes just do a completely unemotional analysis, but it's not that important. So why don't you write me in the comments if you know your dog's emotions and you know your dog's moods and you know exactly how you help your dog, or if this is something totally new to you. I would love to read those, and I will get back to as much of them as I can. And if you have any questions about it, let me know. Write me an email or write it in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. And we'll see each other next time. Until then, bye.